Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of NFL Draft Triple Take presented by UPMC. Mike Prisuta, Matt Williamson, and Dale Lolley, your three stars of draft preparation, if I could mix in a hockey analogy, and I can because I'm running this stuff. If you've been paying attention throughout the process of these programs, you know that we've already gone through position by position, the best of the prospects in advance of the upcoming NFL Draft in late April. For our further review portion of the process, we are taking a second look at the positions, but under the context of riser, faller, and sleeper. We're not giving you our five top candidates. We're just sort of picking and choosing, and it's been a lot of fun to do it that way, and we're going to have some more fun today as we do defensive tackles. Let's jump right into it. Dale, your riser is a guy from the University of Connecticut that has been rising for a while now.
Yeah, not a basketball player either from the University of Connecticut. Travis Jones, you know, I saw him at the Senior Bowl, and he looked really good. He has heavy hands when he strikes the offensive lineman. He jolts them, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's available somewhere in the middle of the second round. He's starting to, after a really good combine. You know, everybody talked about the two Georgia guys. He's 6'4", 325, and ran a 4.9 240. He's really athletic.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of what's happening with these guys this year. But, you know, you watch him on tape. He gets to the quarterbacks. He can rush the passer a little bit there because of those good hands. And there's maybe a little bit of buzz that he may sneak into the end of the first round now. He's not making it to the middle of the second round.
Matt, you got the same guy. And,
yeah, we've been doing that a lot.
I'm stunned by that, but I was doing the yawn thing because, to Dale's point, there's a lot of guys that people would be doing backflips over if it wasn't for the Georgia guys. And this guy's probably one of them.
Yeah. I mean, everyone looks at Jordan Davis and goes, wow, that's a freaky, massive human being, nose tackle, modern day NFL. And I think Travis Jones isn't that far off. And to reiterate what Dale was saying, originally I looked at him and said, oh, he's a good prospect, day two guy, and, you know, maybe even late second round. I think he could go Thursday night after just tearing up every step of the way. You know, like Dale said, Senior Bowl, great, check that box. Combine, check that box. I mean, it sounds like the interviews are good and things like that. He's a dominant player that can eat up blocks, but also push the pocket.
Yeah, I think he was in my top five, and the Senior Bowl was kind of his coming out party, but no end in sight to the attention he's been generating. I'm cheating a little bit on my riser. I went with Logan Hall of Houston. Houston called him a defensive lineman. I think more people would classify him as an end than an interior guy. And at 6'6", 283, I can see why you would do that. But he was most effective to me in a four-man front, a sub-package pass rush scheme where he was one of the two interior guys. And those guys are in demand now. You don't have to be a starter to contribute on defense. If you can get to the quarterback, there's a spot for you. And I think this guy can do it. He's a good-looking athlete, ran well. And I like Daniel Jeremiah's description of how he gets around blocks, either off of them or between them. He gets skinny. He's a big guy, 283 pounds. He finds a way to get skinny and swim through there. So pretty good technique. And Houston, a pretty good program for producing defensive linemen, something to be said for going back to the well. In terms of faller,
Mike, real quick, I don't think you're cheating at all with Hall. I mean, there's a lot of these 6'6", long arm, Eric Armstead, DeForest Buckner types that they line up inside more than do out now. You know, they cause problems. Yeah, I like it.
If you will allow it, Matt, who am I to argue? I'll take that. Matt, let's stick with you since you just gave me a gold star for what I thought was a cheat. Your faller, I'm stunned. Again, not only are you agreeing with Lolley or is Lolley agreeing with you, but you have less than complimentary things to say about a guy from Texas A&M.
They just keep popping up, and it's been a few in a row now. And this is the Marvin Liu. And part of it's because, after the last draft, and you can't overreact to these things. Everyone's talking about this guy like, oh, he's going to be a top 10 pick in 2022, 5-star recruit. And I keep watching him, and I keep trying to really like him and see it. But in his case, I think the word tweener is a negative thing. For many, many years, tweeners, is this a strong safety or a linebacker? He's a tweener. He's neither. Now the league loves tweeners, kind of like you mentioned with Hall. Is he an end or a tackle? Doesn't matter. Bump him in. I look at Liao, though, and think he's most comfortable at end, but he's not really twitchy enough or, explosive off the edge. And then when they bump him inside, he doesn't have that Hall impact as a pass rusher, and he gets pushed around a little bit. So I'm just not sure what to do with him.
Dale, you went with a guy. I'm a little upset by this. Not that you're wrong on your assessment of John Ridgeway of Arkansas, but apparently you were not swayed, and I'm sure you are aware, as a lot of people are, that this kid likes to call himself the Vanilla Gorilla, which if you're going to give yourself a nickname, not a bad effort, right?
Not a bad effort. I'm in the camp, though, that you can't give yourself your own nickname. Yeah. It has to be put on you by somebody else. When the draft process started, I thought this guy might be a day two guy. The more I watched him, doesn't really give you much of a pass rush. He's a big guy. He's probably a straight nose, but a 5.3 second 40-yard dash, 8.4 on the broad jump, just no explosiveness there. He is a former wrestler, which is a check in his ledger for him. But he just doesn't have much of a pass rush plan. And if you're going to be a day two pick or better, you probably better rush the passer. So I think he falls to day three sometime. He's just basically a big run stuffing defensive tackle. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but as we've seen, the league doesn't value those guys quite as much as the guys who at least give you a little something as a pass rusher.
Yeah, I'm kind of following the same sort of thought process. My faller, and you're not going to agree with this, Dale, because it's the same guy that you're going to get to for your sleeper in a minute. But Oto Obanya from UCLA, 6'4", 324 pounds, 29 reps on the bench. He's a former shot put guy, not just in high school, at UCLA. The strength is there. I don't see the strength in play all that much. I don't see him do all that much. And he did not run a 40 at the combine, and then he got a hamstring early in the drill portion of his day. Reportedly, he did not run at UCLA's pro day, so he's kind of stuck in neutral, as I put it in the written version of this program. And I had a hard time figuring out what to make of this kid because, it's 6'4", 324, and from a big-time school such as UCLA, I want to like him. I didn't know what to make of him, so I deferred to Lance Zierlein of NFL.com, who assessed in his write-up that Obanya does not have the pad level or the, quote, parking brake to hold it down as a 3-4 nose. Said he's not an NFL pass rush threat. He's got heavy feet. It's a strong guy. Maybe you should go back to the shot put circle. I don't know.
The reason he was my sleeper, Mike, was I watched him. He showed up a lot during the Senior Bowl practices, and I don't know if that made it onto TV or not, but he was very active in those, running and chasing down guys and things of that nature. I like the way his motor ran in that situation. There were some times where he did get blocked and double teamed and things of that nature. That's going to happen to those guys. But I think there's some tools there from what I saw. A guy that runs.
I would agree. I would agree with you on the tools. Yeah. I'd like to see a little more often, I guess.
Yeah, and I think because he didn't run and didn't test and do all those things, that's why I put him on my sleeper list, because I think he's kind of an untapped.
Yeah, we've all gone to sleep on him.
Well, yeah. I mean, nobody knows really what it is. Kind of like when the guys who had the later pro days that didn't work out at the combine are kind of out of sight, out of mind. And so other people were moving up the boards and things of that nature. Well, these guys never went anywhere on the boards. We'll see where this works out for those guys. But I like the player. I liked what I saw of him at the Senior Bowl. We'll see where he goes.
Matt, your sleeper comes from, oh my God, the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, LSU guy, Neil Farrell. Just kind of sticking with the nose tackle theme, that I think this guy kind of, I mentioned how Jones got overlooked because of Jordan Davis. Well, I think both those guys are over, making Farrell kind of an afterthought. And LSU really had a down year. A lot of their prospects took a step backwards, but not this guy. I mean, he got the full opportunity to really play the nose full time for the first time this year. And I thought he took a monster step forward, and just wanted to keep talking about these giant pluggers, because the league wants to play, lighter boxes nowadays. And I think these guys are starting to rise in demand.
Yeah, no question. It's a great point because, if you can get a guy with size who can get you the push, then you're covered with the smaller bodies behind. I'm cheating again on my sleeper, Thomas Booker from Stanford, who actually is called a defensive end by Stanford. But again, I think he's an inside guy, played inside a lot. Not a ton of production here, but his last year taught me maybe production's not all that important, at least not as important as I used to think it was, because guys that either played little and did little or didn't play at all the previous year had very impressive rookie years last year. Booker 6'3", 301 pounds. And he's one of these guys, we've talked about this in a couple of positions, doesn't look anywhere near 301 pounds. He just looks like a thick, solid athlete that can do a lot of different things, and might be one of those guys that does a little bit better in the NFL than he did at college for whatever reason, but ran really well in Indianapolis. Another one of those, Matt, to your earlier point, another one of those 300-plus pound guys who ran a sub-5 40, but it wasn't as fast as the Georgia guys, so who cares? Dale, it wasn't as fast as Travis Jones, so who cares? But 300 pounds, under 5, and he's also a former team captain and a finalist for the William V. Campbell Award, which is the academic Heisman. He's been active in the community at Stanford. Checks all the intangible boxes, and I think he's got the physical skill set to make some things happen.
Yeah, I mean, I assume he's obviously very book smart, being a Booker from Stanford, and those guys. You know, I think sometimes intelligence gets overlooked as a trait with these guys.
Yep.
I think if you're able to learn quickly and take it directly from the classroom to the field, it gets you on the field a lot quicker than the guy. He may be more talented, but it takes him a few more reps, physical reps, to learn what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, and I think Stanford, for whatever reason, gets more credit for that than any other institute. Oh, he's a Stanford guy. He's got to be smart.
Well, I mean, it's the Michigan State of the West.
So it likes to think. I want to remind everybody that you can catch all of these programs, all of our pre-draft stuff, as we call it, for lack of a better term. All of it is available on all of the Steelers' social media platforms. You can catch Matt and Dale on The Drive on SNR. You guys talking any draft on The Drive? Just a little bit?
No, not a bit.
Saving it all.
So we keep ending up with the same guys on here. We've talked about all these guys for months now.
Well, we'll be talking about it again sooner rather than later. Until then, I want to thank everybody for finding us, however and wherever you found us. For Matt Williamson and Dale Lolley, I'm Mike Prisuta. This has been another edition of the NFL Draft Triple Take, presented by UPMC.